Billy.
Hi. Hello.
And welcome to
the Partner
Panel.
Okay, they can hear us. Letting you guys know, again, forewarning before y'all start asking. Especially you, Stunt. I see the way you looking.
We're just gonna call that the J-Pie warning. That's all we're gonna do.
I can't, bro. He said that's the official J-Pie warning. Yikes. Oh, all right. So,
love you, J-Pie. Tell you, hit us up. We'll get you on the next episode.
I'll be real. I'd be shocked if he hasn't seen it by now. The fact that we're like, hey man, J-Pie, bro, where you at, bro?
But I'm just gonna, for now on, at every post we make, just hashtag J-Pie.
For sure.
Eventually he'll find it.
Hashtag J-Pie. All right, so welcome everybody, since we are doing this live, and welcome everybody that's watching it pre-recorded as well. We got Mangoose again with us. Probably going to be a frequent thing at this point. Is it frequent? Is that official?
I don't know. The Mangoose, you are awesome, and welcome to the Fault Partner Panel, hosted by Windu.
Oh my God!
By the Bearded Wolverine, joined by the magnificent Stunt himself. Let's get the fucking party started.
I can't with him, bro. I got some cranberry juice to toast, but all right, bet. Fucking A. And then we got Stunt, like you was the same. Appreciate y'all being here.
What's up?
Oh man. So
Stunt. After what I did, you can't do more.
He's like, what's up? What's up?
How do you follow that up?
I know exactly. Like, I'm gonna embarrass myself.
So let's do this. Let's just rip a Band-Aid out of the way. Now, we are aware that there is no weekly patch update. That's one of the first things that happened, right?
Yes.
Strange Matters came out and said, we know Tuesdays are usually our patch note days. However, since we're ramping up for patch 14, we'll be skipping this patch, but don't worry, we'll announce more in the coming days, right? I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen so people can see it. So if anything, we know that they've been a little quiet, and we are very aware that the community manager had some personal stuff going on, and hopefully most of that has been resolved by now. We wish everything, we wish them the best as far as, whatever's going on. And now posting is starting to happen a little bit. In the last 24 hours, we've, what was it? Four posts? 4 posts if you include this one. The fact that, just letting us know that we're not going to get a weekly patch update. So I'll be real with you. I don't know if I like the fact that they skipped out on the patch notes. Now, that's an indicator that the bigger patch is probably around the corner, and they might jam pack some of that shit in there, right? Because if not, they'd probably give it to us this bi-weekly update. So is that a fair assumption to say that we got less than 2 weeks till patch 14? You know what I mean?
I mean, that's my assumption. Is it fair? I don't know if it's fair. It's definitely my assumption now.
I mean, I'll be real. Considering the day that it is, I hope it's within 2 weeks, because 2 weeks from now, it's the end of the month, bro.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So
no, definitely.
So I hope so. Now, they also showed on here, and this is what I really, really want to talk about with you guys.
I want to go back to that real quick. Sorry. And
go ahead.
As I'm sitting here looking at the words here. I think it is, now that I think about it even more, I think it is more a fair assumption, because we already are going, how long is it? Almost 10 months, or is it over 10 months of not having a hero in the game? We've been getting only these bi-weekly patches, which they said they were going to give us, and they've been putting them out there, so they haven't been wrong with that until just now. But like, if they were to just skip a patch to have us go in and then give us our blog post or whatever, or our social updates or whatever that we're going to be getting here now, possibly, and then the next patch rolls around and we don't get 14, we're just getting another small patch. I think that's a bit, I think you're like, the community needs something. And if you're just gonna do that to us, what was that? What's the word I'm looking for? Like lowball us on that, whatever. Like I don't know. Sandbag us on that. Like, because what was going on that we just weren't able to get a patch this week? Because somebody wasn't able to type in the patch notes. I mean, if you need somebody to type the patch notes, I could have done that. Like, what is it? Like something like I think 14 has to be coming.
I can't, bro.
I don't know. I don't think they're under any kind of obligation. Like they've been plenty transparent with the community. I don't think they're under any obligation to do patches on a certain time frame or to release.
But they put themselves in that obligation. They literally said they put themselves. That's what I'm saying. That wasn't us that did it to them. They said, "Hey, we're going to start doing bi-weekly patches. This is the week of a patch," and the patch didn't come out. They came out and said they're not making one. That's fine. I'm okay with the announcement. I have no problems with this announcement. But if you come out with this announcement, that tells me that you're just like, you know what? We don't got like it could probably be like that one patch that like Kalari comes out and we had like, and there was a little bit of a nerf to Kalari, and that was it. There wasn't an item. There wasn't anything else. That was all we got. I'm like, well, what was that? That was kind of a waste of a patch, in my opinion. You could have just told me, hey, sorry, no patch this week. Wait till next week. And the fact that they're saying no patch this week tells me that there's got to be something coming up around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real with you. That's just what I think is gonna come. Like, I don't read this and think immediately like, oh, you know what, X scenario, Y scenario. I'm literally over here like, all right, so some shit has to hit us soon that they're probably jumbling it up together.
Yep.
Like, it's got to be it, right? At this point. Well, I mean, fingers crossed.
Right.
So then, you wanted to say something? Done.
No, I'm saying hopefully. I hope I do agree with you guys. I mean, I hope it's around the corner and they're not just trying to kill time or extend it as much as they can.
I don't like that they jammed themselves into a time frame like that in the first place. It just way too reminiscent of hashtag every 3 weeks and all that shit. Like,
yeah, but
everybody needs to stay away from time frames.
I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying
but this is also patch notes, right? But
balance patches compared to heroes is a completely different thing. Like that's quite the time frame. Like literally we're asking for a balance patch. We're asking. They're saying they're gonna give us a balance patch every 2 weeks, right? Compared to giving us a new hero every 3 weeks.
Right.
That's one of
those is cake.
We can make this happen. Like, because that just means our testers have to test in this 2 weeks, and we got to figure something out. Like, okay, let's bring this down, or we got to look at our data points. All right, we'll adjust this, just that, whatever. That's a balance patch. That's no problem.
Right.
So I'm okay with it.
I just use every 3 weeks as an example because that's something that a lot of us understand that undermine Paragon. Of course, it's not comparable to releasing a hero every 3 weeks. I just don't think that anybody should ever give any kind of time frame, because as soon as you miss it, people lose their fucking minds. And there's going to be times where you have to miss that time frame.
100%. I agree.
Like, don't commit like that. Don't commit like that, because it's going to cause trouble.
I would say I'm on the other side of you. I feel like time frames are needed because time frames create a sense of urgency. If there is no time frame, that's where complacency happens within companies. You feel me? So I mean, it's important. It's important to, for me, it's important to set a time frame, but that doesn't mean an unrealistic time frame. You feel me? Like, you should be able to look at your staff, look at your team's capacity, and be able to set an adequate time frame, and then from there, give yourself an extra week. You feel me? Like, if you can make if you can make 2 heroes every 2 months, then all right, so give us 1 hero every 2 months. If you know you can do that shit, give yourself some extra time in case some shit goes wrong. You feel me?
I don't disagree with you, but you can do all those time frames internally. Like, the whole community doesn't need to know that time frame. Like, you can literally say, like, let's Jester can be like, Hound and Ryan, why is the patch not out? Whatever. And it's not Ryan, whoever it is, whoever you're gonna, like, you can hound them like, hey, this is the time frame. This is what we have. What's going on? Why are we not close to this? Why are we going to miss this time frame? You can still have that time frame set internally. It doesn't have to be externally known. And
which I'm sure they have internal time frames regardless, or goals that they're aiming for.
So so that still would satisfy what you're saying. I agree that the timeframes that they're setting out here externally, those are going to be missed. And that's what me and Windu kind of said in the beginning when we started these episodes, is that, when you came out with the heroes, like the season zero heroes, we got spoiled. All right. And we got spoiled to the point to where now, like, the fact that we haven't had a hero in, I think, 10 months, maybe. I could be wrong with the time frame. So if somebody correct me in chat if we know what it is. Like, we got spoiled with that, because now also we go with the not having heroes, and now we're like, wow, we're just really missing a hero. Now you get us like, it's like, what is that, Pavlov's dogs, right? You get us trained. Hey, we're getting a patch every 2 weeks. All right, we're getting a patch every 2 weeks. All of a sudden now we're not getting a patch. It's like, wait, what's going on? Right? That's the issue. Like, switch it up a little bit. Don't put yourself in that corner. I completely understand what you're saying, Mangoose.
So the time frame situation is a little scary, because I both agree with Mangoose and Windu. Windu is looking at a more realistic time frame, like in 3 months we'll get patch 14, and if they make it before then and we get it, well, here you go. Here's a surprise. Enjoy. But at the same time, the problem with time frames too is you put out a time frame because you want to please everybody in the community. If that time frame comes by and you're not complete or you're not on track, you're either going to half-ass it or you're going to extend it. And that causes problems. You get a handful of people that'll complain. The complainer is always going to complain, but you still get that handful of people that are going to come out and be like, dude, you promised us this and you didn't deliver. So it's one of those sensitive subjects, you know what I mean? Having a time frame and not having it.
I mean, like I was saying, like, I just strongly believe that you don't have to hide away from time frames. It's perfectly fine to set a realistic one. Like, if they came out right now and said, hey, full release July 2022, if they decided to say some shit like that, be like, all right, can they probably do it before that? Maybe. But they're setting themselves with enough time to be able to have some leeway. You get me? Like, I don't think time frames are bad. I just don't. I think they create a sense of urgency. I think that it's okay to set a realistic time frame, not sit here and be like, oh, we're going to try and wow people. Let's do it even faster. You know what I mean? Like, it's just setting a realistic time frame and then keeping to it. Like, that's it.
For an indie dev company, though, and this is their first time doing it, what is a realistic time frame?
Whatever you think you can do, double that shit. If you think you can do that shit in a month and a half, give yourself 3.
But what if you don't think? What if you literally have? I have no clue what I could do. Like, hey, I need you to make me a thumbnail for a YouTube video. All right. My time frame, I have no fucking clue how it's going to take me to make you a good YouTube. All right. Or YouTube thumbnail. Right. Windu, you can make it a little bit faster. Mangoose, he'll make it in 30 seconds and make it look better than all of ours. Even we took years. All right. So it doesn't matter.
So as a company, I would say Bearded is not the one that's making the video. I need to find somebody that can give me a time frame. But you feel me?
All right. No, I don't feel you. I feel like you're just going to argue against it no matter what, and that's fine. That's
as a business, in your example, I wouldn't sit here and be like, hey, if Bearded can't give me a time frame, but Mangoose can, maybe Mangoose should handle that project.
Okay. Yes, 100%. I agree with that. But I'm talking about. All right, fine. You're right. Instead of the SMS doing this, I think Epic Games should make the game, because obviously they're a AAA company and they can do better than an indie dev company. That's my point.
Yeah, but no offense,
doesn't know what they're doing.
No, but no offense as an ignorant statement, because a company is filled with plenty of individuals that specialize in different roles. Whatever the task at hand is, you either have somebody that specializes in that role or you find somebody that specializes in that role. You feel me? For example, creating a character model, they have somebody for that. He's going to be able to give them a time frame as to how efficiently he can create new character models and shit, right?
Right, but you have to do all this has to go together, right? You can create a character model, you can do this, you can do this, and we have to make sure all of our time frames work, right? Because the character model, the new guy creating character models, yes, I think I could do this, but guess what? Now all of a sudden his time frame got pushed back, so now my time frame gets pushed back. So now all of a sudden that time frame that we thought we gave you, everything just got multiplied by 5, and it's like, what happened? So if we don't give you that time frame and we keep everything internal time frames, we're better off because we don't have it now. We didn't give you that false hope.
I mean, wouldn't my idea still fit to where like if he gives you a set time frame, double it. If he tells you he can get some shit done in a week and a half, give him 3 weeks. That way, if there are delays, it's already accounted for. But if he finishes early, you can move on to the next step faster.
But so what if something happens again and that 3.5 doesn't work? Shit happens, man. Like stuff happens. Like I've worked construction business. Guess what? There those time frames. Like, wait, this is when this building's gonna open, and guess what? It doesn't open on that date, and it gets pushed back.
Yeah, that can happen, but they still have a time frame because that's what should be done.
But they're not telling the community who's like waiting to open. Who I can't wait for Chick-fil-A to open. They're not telling the community, hey, this is the open date.
Or you imagine if you buy a house and they tell you, hey, I can't tell you when I'll be done with it though. Like,
and I think unanimously the time frame issue is unanimously the biggest issue with these para-zombie games.
Probably
doesn't matter which one you look at. Unanimously, time frame is the biggest common denominator, common issue.
All right. So the difference
I was supposed to be making fun of you tonight, but you just hit the nail on the head, and I can't argue with that. Like,
come on, you can come up with something.
No, I can't. Yeah, I mean, you really came through with that. That's an excellent comment. Like, we saw what happened to Core when they missed their very dramatic alpha date, which was like April 27th or something like that, 2018. Yep. Like, once they missed that date, people lost their goddamn minds, and then they went underground, and then we've never heard from Core again. Except
I was about to say, how you bounce back really matters for sure. I think that was just very poorly handled by them. Like, regardless if you ever like have to extend a time frame or whatever, like Fault has done a pretty decent job of like if they extend a time frame or if some shit goes south, they're like, hey guys, this is the 411. Kind of like when patch 13, they were like, maybe March, maybe April, we'll see. Yeah. And then they filled this in that little bit closer, like, yeah, definitely going to be April. You know what I mean? I was okay with those timeframes.
Windu, another thing that I also agree with Bearded on, and I know this is a Fault partner, but I have to make the comparison just as an example. Predecessor was one of them. Predecessor gave you about a month to sign up for that stress test. So they kind of had an idea of how many individuals are going to come in. And when the time came around, we saw what happened. That last minute problems are going to occur. And this is why I said the time frame is a sensitive subject. I both agree with you and Bearded. Bearded is right. You give us a time frame and all of a sudden something happens and you don't make that character, or you make that character and an animation goes wrong, or do you still kick it back out, or do you extend that time frame? You're going to have people coming out here and complaining and crying about it. So, I mean,
yeah.
So Reverb in the chat is saying that he thinks that like my mindset is like the game development works like an assembly line. He's saying it's not like that, which I mean, in a way, yeah, that's my mindset. I'm not putting a specific expectation as to what I think it should be time frame wise. But like in my eyes, it is like an assembly line. Once a part gets done, it moves on to the next person so they can start working on their part and etc. And the product might go through 50 people's hands, but by the end of it, you have a fucking car that's built. You feel me? Sometimes delays happen. Unfortunate. People still account for delays and expectations, and they do their best to try and avoid those. But at the end of the day, like, for example, creating a character is exactly like an assembly line.
So you brought up I brought up somebody a company building Chick-fil-A. You brought up somebody building a house, right? When you're building a house for one family or one person, right? And when you're building a Chick-fil-A, you're building it for a whole community. All right. There's a complete difference with those deadlines and guidelines and what's going on there. Right. And you don't tell the community when you're building a Chick-fil-A that this will be the grand opening date. Right. Because when you don't make that date, everything's, hitting the fan. When you tell them when your grand opening date is, when you're finishing, like we just had
when the product is finished. Yeah.
When you're already testing the product, you're training the team, the team that's working in the restaurant, you're training them to make sure they're getting their stuff done on time in a timely manner. So when people do come here for their grand opening, they're going to get their food in a timely manner. That's when you tell them a grand opening date's happening. When stuff's happening, you can't giving a time frame just because, hey, we're building a Chick-fil-A. Grand opening date's gonna be this, then it's gonna get extended. You can't do that.
I kind of want to go back a little bit, and hit what Reverb was talking about, because he was like saying, like it doesn't really matter right now. Like we hit on that last week a little bit too. Like right now, with the player base they have, if they fuck up a little bit, it's like a few people that are pissed off. Like this, they need to use this as a learning tool for the future. You train how you fight how you train. This is their training right now. And whenever they actually, I guess when 14 comes out and they actually start advertising this game, that's when the fight starts. That's when they need to be on top of their game. And I hope that they learn from this a little bit, because I kind of agree. I'm leaning more towards Bearded on this one than Windu. I think you need to set internal timelines, but you need to do away with the external timelines. You can't tell the community we're going to have this at this date, because when it doesn't happen, people are going to be pissed. So once it's done, maybe a couple days, let's tell them like in 3 days, we'll have this done, and then it's done. You know what I mean? Because that's how I set timelines when I was in the military. If somebody said, can you do this? I would give them I could do that in 3 days. I would know that I could do it in a day, but I would still tell them 3 days. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of what they need to do. That's what a lot of these companies aren't doing, is they make these fucking.
Didn't you just say what I was saying? Like, if you can do it in a day, you gave them 3 days just to cover your ass, just in case.
Yeah, but I don't think they should even give the community that 3 days until it's done.
So you think once the product is finished, then come out and be like, all right, next week.
Right.
Yes.
After everything's all done.
Yeah,
100%.
Or even if you give a time frame of a month, the product is done, they tested it, they know it's up and running. Hey, next month, this time we're gonna release it. Give you that extra cushion. That would make more sense. Whereas, hey, we're working on this, and 3 months from now, you guys are gonna get a new hero, but they haven't started on the hero yet, or they haven't done it. It can really kill a game. It can really kill a company. That's the problem.
So let's go off what Reverb said also as well around that same time. Is he was talking about with realistic, it doesn't matter. With Pred, he was saying basically with Pred kind of having their stuff kind of being held back now with whatever issues they're dealing with after that stress test. Isn't it okay for SMS to kind of hold their cards close to their chest at this time, instead of and working on it, refining things and making it even better? Or should they still continue to push and get 14 out here ASAP and go from there? What do you guys think with that?
I think that's a tough question to answer, because SMS has spoiled us from the beginning. Pred always stayed quiet. Pred stayed quiet, gave you an alpha, stayed quiet, gave you an alpha, stayed quiet, gave you a stress test, stayed quiet, and is doing whatever they're doing. Fault, like you were saying, kind of spoiled us from the beginning with heroes, with patch notes, with all these updates and stuff like, you know what I mean? So if you stand back now and you hold your card to your chest, wouldn't that kind of affect the company in a negative way?
How?
Well, after spoiling everybody like that, and all of a sudden, you know what? We're gonna stay quiet for the next 6 months until we're complete with this one.
We've said this the last 3 episodes, and Mangoose said it. When SMS has proven it, when they go quiet, they come out with something big. Mm-hmm. Right? They went quiet. They came out with 13. And what was to be just before that, they went quiet with something else too, and they came out. It was like they've come out with some big stuff after going quiet. So
and they came out with the game. Nobody had heard of that.
That's what it was. That was the reference. Yes. Yeah. When they came out, all said, "Hey, we got it. You want to test it? Here you go. You can test it." And Mangus is like, "What? Hold up. Yeah, I can do that. I can. It's actually playable." Yeah, it came out of nowhere. Like nobody knew of Fault. Nobody knew of SMS, and all of a sudden, bam! Here we got a playable game for you. So that's that says a lot. When this company can be quiet and do some stuff when they're quiet. So I could see both sides, right? I could understand holding the cards to your chest, because if we show our cards, the other companies that are being quiet can then take advantage of those cards that are being shown, right? But if we hold the cards to our chest and we just kind of wait until we're ready, and then we make that big bang push, bam, all of a sudden here and full release, like we're ahead of the game. But if we can also do that, hey, we're still making great improvements. Everybody else is being quiet. We're making great improvements, and we're almost to full release. Then we could show that steady increase. That could be better for us as well.
I mean, you could go either approach, to be honest. Like at that point, it's really more of a preference thing. Because
what is your preference? What do you think would be the best way to do it?
I mean, I'll be real. I'm definitely more along the lines of, if it works, put it in the game. Holding onto your cards isn't really worth anything to anyone besides maybe a few people. You feel me? Like I think it's one of those things that, for example, if they decided to add a new character to the game, and let's say there's only 150, 200 people player base, right? So the immediate impact might only be felt by a few, right?
Right.
But when you have a compounding effect of all those immediate impacts over the span of 3 months, somebody that left 3 months ago is now going to check the game and they're going to see a huge difference.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And simultaneously, the people that have been there on the daily, they know that shit's getting added constantly. So I'm okay with like the two weekly patch notes and the fact that they were adding like a new item every 2 weeks or whatever. I'm okay with that, because even though people that are here daily might not feel like it's a huge thing, you got to remember the majority of the player base is not here daily. They left months ago. But when they do happen to check the game again, they're like, damn, look at all this shit that they added. Okay, I like it.
So now I 100% agree with you, especially if this is a game that doesn't have a competitor doing something almost equal to it. And that's the biggest issue. You have somebody that's like trying to recreate almost something identical to what you have, and you're literally competing with the same player base.
So wouldn't it be better to show what you got first, so then if somebody else does something similar, they're the copycats?
First, but they don't even have an early access yet. So you're already ahead of them. So when they start coming out with something, then you can be like, boom, like you like literally you're sandbagging. You're like, okay, oh, that's what you got. Oh, that's your early access. Bam, here you go. We got this. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, wait, okay, well, let's head over there. In that regard, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm only thinking of a way it could be played. Like I said, I could understand both of them. And I'm, as somebody, as a loyal player that's been playing from the beginning of early access, please give me something now. I want 14 now. Like I need something now, because I'm one that we said a month ago, this game's not stale. I'm still playing, enjoying it. And now I'm getting to the point where like, this game's getting stale. I need something, please. I'm at that point, right? I don't want to be one of the ones that left. Hey, I'll come back when I see a bigger improvement. But I can see as a benefit on both of them, how it works either way.
I like the fact that we're able to play the game as all of this is happening in the background. And again, you had a really good point too, Bearded. It's not just this company that's making this game. There's companies that are making a game just like it. Now, if I hold these cards to my chest and one of the other companies comes out and says, hey, guess what? We're going full release, console and everything. How difficult would it be for Fault to bring back the player base again once somebody jumps ship? You know what I mean? I'm not talking about the loyal players. I'm not talking about. And so I like the fact that we're able to play Fault. We're able to see all these changes happening, we're able to give back the feedback, and also by us playing, they're getting their feedback too on the back end. You know what I mean? The algorithms and all that other stuff. So I mean, it could go both ways. It's just a matter of, like you guys said, how do you look at it?
Right. Magus, what do you think?
I think there's kind of another hidden thing here.
Okay.
From my experience, this is a different game. Heroes of the Storm. For a while, for about a year, they were having balance patches like every 2 weeks, like major hero balance patches. And you would think, awesome, that's going to keep the meta fresh. But people didn't have time to adjust to the meta, and it threw everything into chaos, and everybody was just kind of confused. So I think there's such a thing as too many updates as we're going through. I know I'm coming out of left field and not really contributing to the overall conversation with this, but I think that's another thing they have to consider with these patches every 2 weeks is once you have an established player base, people need to have time to adjust and establish a meta before you change the meta. Otherwise, you're never going to know what the actual balance is. Because if you give somebody, like, maybe you buff Kalari. If you nerf her 2 weeks later, without ever giving the community time to learn how to play against Kalari, did Kalari actually need that nerf? Probably not. So it seems like it's a bit
right.
I can see that.
Like,
about 2 weeks might not be enough.
Oh, it definitely isn't enough, and I know that from experience from playing fucking Heroes of the Storm whenever they were having their patches every 2 weeks.
Well, I think you could still have You could still have 2 weeks patch, right? But you have to you'd have to have a limit on how often that hero shows up in those patches, right? So like let's say we buff Kalari, right? So after we buff Kalari can't be touched in the next 2 patches, you know, so that'd give her a month or whatever to be used in whatever change we made. That's a month that she'll be used in that situation, unless something's like drastically like, oh, this was the wrong change and it's obvious. That's a different situation. You know what I'm saying? But like if we're doing, all right, we got to give time to really see how it works. So like, I agree with your point. You got to understand, you have to get the actual data points to be used and see how it works. But like, because I buff Kalari or nerf Kalari, whatever, buff Kalari on this week, 2 weeks later, I nerf Narbash. What is that? Like, why? Like, how do those conflict with each other? I don't see a confliction. I'm okay with bi-weekly patches, but you have to, like I said, you kind of have to like, okay, it's more of a algorithm you'd have to figure out as the development team or as the balancing team to figure out who can be balanced and when can be balanced when needed to be.
Or you could just wait and not do it every 2 weeks.
But what if you have somebody that's like, all right, we buff Kalari, and then we find out like later on that like, all right, we definitely should have put Narbash on that, situation. He needs a buff or something. He's hurting or whatever. We should have, but we didn't put him on that patch. So you're just gonna just let it keep going however long.
No, just do it. Do the patches as they're needed, not on a time frame, not on a set time frame.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
If you buffed Kalari and all of a sudden she's at fucking like 75% win rate, which is ridiculous for a MOBA, every hero should be as close to 50% as possible. But if she's at a 75% fucking win rate, then you're probably going to have to fucking do a little something about that, because that's not an issue with the community not being able to deal with. I just don't like time frames being put out to the community when you're not going to meet them. And they didn't meet this time frame, and here we are talking about it. We never would have been talking about it if they never would have set this time frame.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important also to mention that just because they skipped out on patch notes this one time, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to skip out down the road. You feel me? Or again, I'm okay with them skipping out on a bi-weekly patch notes, if there's a major patch that's going to be tied up with it. You feel me? Like when they release 15, if that same week they don't give me a weekly patch note, I get it. You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. So, like, when they release 13, hey, we're doing bi-weekly patches, and like 13, we're supposed to be getting 13.4, and they say, hey, we're no patch this week, you know, and, you know, 14's nowhere in sight at this time. Well, now, why? Why are we not getting a patch? That's an issue, right? But knowing that 14 is ever so close, how close it is, we don't know, but writing's on the wall saying it's really close, you know, like I'm okay with it too. It makes sense. But as long as you make the announcement, if we would have went through all of Tuesday and had nothing, had no announcement at all, we're just waiting for patch notes and nothing comes out. Now this episode is going to be completely different if that was what happened.
I'll be real. I'm kind of curious as to what has been the delay, because they started hyping up the game just right now. I mean, we're about midway to the month, so about a month ago they started hyping up patch 14 like crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we still haven't seen it, so I'm just curious. Like, I wonder what delay, what obstacle, or maybe it's just a preference that they're choosing to do. You feel me? Like, that's the part that intrigues me. Because they like it all. For me, it almost gave off the impression that patch 14 was so solidly like set that we were gonna get that shit around the corner.
I thought so too.
And they were talking about
I said I think it's now.
Yeah, and they were talking about testing the AI and the mastery system and all that. They've been talking about those two things for 3 months, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It has been 3 months.
Close. It's I don't know the time frame, but it's been a lot. I mean, we've gotten how often we've been getting mastery skins, you know, and every 2 weeks
basically.
You know, one every 2 weeks and we got how many 17?
Now? 17. What?
You know,
is
like
it?
that's I don't know. I haven't been keeping count. That I don't want to keep count every 2 weeks. No, thank you. So it's a lot, you know, but so I don't know. It's been crazy.
So
I just think they should have had the patch done and then announce it.
Then do a marketing push or whatever based off of the patch.
And then market it, and then a month later drop the actual patch. But that would mean no patches in between. But they fucking tied their hands up by promising people patches every 2 weeks. I just think it's a really dumb idea to promise people something every 2 weeks. It limits you so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you say no patches in between, I disagree with that. I think we still need some patches.
Hot patches are going to happen. He's talking about more like a recurring thing.
I'm not talking about. So when you say hot patches, what's it between a hot patch and a hot fix? Because hot fixes are different. I'm talking about like an actual patch needs to happen.
No, I'm sorry. That's what I'm referring to. A hot fix. Okay. Like those are going to happen when they need to happen, right?
Right, but I'm talking about like we can't how long has it been since we had 13? When did 13 come out?
Late April, right?
Right. So you're telling me I got to go from April till whatever we're at now? We're in almost October. November. You know, middle of October. I'm gonna go there, and literally it's gonna be the same meta. It's literally gonna be the same OP characters. It's literally gonna be like hey, this person's not viable at all. No. I can't.
No, not at all. I mean, but
you got to give me some balancing in between there. Maybe not every 2 weeks. I agree with what Mangus is saying.
Like at least like once a month or once a semester at minimum, maybe like once every 3 months per season.
Mangus says, don't set yourself up with that time frame and tell the community that. I'm okay. I agree with that. But he also said, I want to make sure that's what he meant. Don't just say anything about it until you have it ready, but no patches in between. Are you literally talking about like not doing anything from 13 to 14?
No. I'm not saying
that. Okay, I'm
saying work on 14 in the background.
Like, no,
work on 14 in the background. What I'm saying is, once 14 is actually ready, you can't really do patches in between the time that's actually ready and the time you release it.
Okay,
because any patches you do in between that time will probably fuck with your release date.
No, okay. No, and that okay. That's where I misunderstood. I literally thought you meant 13.
The patch is ready. The patch can go out right now, get in everybody's hands, and be good. Start advertising it then. Start advertising it on September 1st. Don't release it until October 1st.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. And
that makes more sense to me, and I understand that now. All right, that's where I was like, no, I cannot, I cannot agree with old. Hey, 13, now you gotta wait. Like we ain't doing anything until 14. Like, fuck that.
So let me ask you guys something based off of some of the social posts that they actually have been putting. Right, like we said, in the last 24 hours, they put up 3 to 4 posts. Right. So I've been playing it on stream while we've been talking, and one of them is, it looks like Twin Blast player playing what looks like a solo AI match, because it looks like the AI, the Gideon on your team is AI, and it looks like also the Gideon on the enemy team is AI. Now I'm gonna put it full screen here so people can see the actual Twitter page. I hate the fact that Twitter literally has this as like the lowest res possible, and as soon as you go full screen, the shit gets pixelated as fuck. But we're gonna put it as full screen as we can so people can see it. How do you guys feel about the fact that they showing this? How do you guys feel about this in general?
I love it. I love it how well it looks. You know, it looks like actual gameplay. If you would have posted this and didn't tell me it was an AI match, I literally would have thought it was an actual, game footage, and I'd be wondering, well, because you look at it, it's not anything. It's not like, oh my gosh, that was amazing play. So I would look at it like, okay, why was that posted? But it looks like actual gameplay footage. I mean, against like if all of us were, PvP is what it looks like to me. So I like how it looks. The AI is looking like they're actually acting the way they're supposed to act.
Yeah, I think this shows leaps and strides. TBH.
I think it's a great thing to show. It's just I missed it because it wasn't on Discord, and that's like the only thing I track. Like I don't fuck with Facebook, I don't fuck with Twitter, I don't fuck with Instagram, and that's what all these went out on. I just follow Facebook. That's about not Facebook, Discord. And this didn't go up on Discord, so.
Dude, I'll be real with you. If it wasn't for Bearded mentioning it right before we went live, I didn't know that they had a Twitter feed chat now. I had no idea. I'm like, yo, I either keep up with them on Twitter or I don't see that shit.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how many times I'm going to click on that Twitter feed, TBH, but that's just me.
So I don't know. I've always been active with their Twitter feed. I've always, if it's something that I really, especially the patch notes, I always retweet their patch notes and put it out there to the community. So the community, whoever follows me can see it and stuff if they're not following Strange Matter on Twitter. But I also like with that video, you see the enemy Gideon's going against our Gideon, right? But then he instantly changes. The ADC comes in and he changes the because that's what you should be doing, right? You focus the carry, right? So he instantly changes. Instead of going against his Gideon, he changes to go towards our ADC, the carry, get rid of the damage, So that shows the artificial intelligence and how well it's working. I like it.
I wanted to ask you guys, and also the community that's
anyways,
watching
next
right
question.
Oh, what the fuck? Yo, I was like, holy shit, he just got cut the fuck off. Oh my god, go ahead, Stunny. Yikes.
Also, all our viewers, do you guys want one type of difficulty on the AI? Are you looking for
a great question.
One type of difficulty, or because look, here's some issues I have, and this happened back in Paragon. Some new players would come in and play against the AI, get 10, 15 kills, look at it and go, oh, this is a piece of cake. Buy this card, do this combination, I'm good to go. And then they jump into a ranked game or player versus player game, and they get shitted on, and you just leave.
Right.
I was thinking, I'm kind of hoping that this AI has a certain difficulty level, easy, medium, hard, to kind of prepare you, even though it's not going to be the same, but kind of, you know what I mean? Throw it out there.
I'll be real with you. They should have hard to have 100% aimbot. Like set like almost like an unrealistic, like, yo, these bots are hard as shit. You ever had a game like that to where you if you do like the AI or whatever in the hardest difficulty,
I would just play PvP then if that's what I wanted to do with.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Because my worry is also that they make AI so good, you're just gonna have the majority of the player base prefer AI, and PvP still suffers. You feel me?
Well, I mean, for one, let's put this out there right now. I think PvP is going to suffer in the beginning when 14 comes out. Anyways, it's going to happen until we get the player base to grow. But to answer Stunt's question, I want different levels of difficulty, and I would love to have a description for the newer players to understand. If you play and do well at this level, you will be good with this. You'll be good in bronze. If you play and do well at this level, you'll be good in silver. If you play, do good this level, you'll be good in this area. Like, not that you're going to win or you're going to be able, but you'll be able to compete in this level. You'll be able to compete at this level. You'll be able to compete in this level. That's what to describe. So, hey, if I come in here and if I just play against these level hard difficulties, does that mean I'm beating the masters? No, that means you're probably good inside, gold or platinum area, right? Then you still have to hone difficulties, whatever. Something like that.
Just moderated, nothing too crazy.
Yeah. A little descriptor that says, hey, this is where you're at. Because that way you'll know when you go in, you won't have that effect with Paragon, right? You go in, you just own the bots. I got this. And you go into a game, you just get owned. Like, what the hell happened? You'll have that. Hey, if you play these bots, you'll be set up for this situation.
Yeah, especially if you're messing around with the bots and they're too easy and you're playing the Narbash jungle, and then you go to your first PvP game and pick Narbash as a jungle and your teammates tell you, what are you doing? Hey, I got it in front of the bot. I got 20 kills. I mean, I'm good to go. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
This is what I wanted, the difference in difficulty.
Yeah, how would y'all feel if the AI were actually named as partners? Just randomized names. Could you imagine that shit?
Oh, that would be neat.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It would be cool.
Like a name randomizer, you start up an AI match. Oh, look, it's fucking Bearded. I can't even say Mangoose because you're not a partner yet. But
yes.
Like, you feel me? Like, imagine you got like the community is always going up against the partners in AI mode.
Hey, Balix, what's going on, buddy?
Like,
Yeah, 100%.
And you can literally just put the name of the partner and then AI at the end. You feel me? Like, it does so people don't confuse it. Just a cool little thing, I thought.
If they can be realistic about it, they could hire me and I can make up names like Chode Choker 46. I just came up with that. Bam. And that would be a real name that you would see.
He said he just came up with it. You go back and look at his Xbox and literally that was his name on his Xbox account.
I can't, bro.
Never owned an Xbox.
Reaver brings up a good point in the chat that the average person that's going to be playing an AI is typically not the type of person that, it might sound rude, but not the type of person that the general community would want in PvP because they're still learning the ropes, right? Like, unfortunately, mobile environments are very cutthroat. You get in, it's like, hey, man, every mistake that you make, you're falling behind.
Give me AI so I don't have to be in your game, all right? Give me AI and I won't be in your game, Reaver.
Well, that Sevrog we played with last night. Holy shit.
Oh, God.
That poor guy. I felt bad for him.
Hey, if you, thank you, Mangus. If you are new and you're listening to this either live or you're listening to it on Windu's channel, if you're new and you have people reach you, hey, you have chat in the lower left-hand corner. There's chat down there, okay? If you have somebody reaching out to you and trying to help you, please respond. Okay. If you don't respond, it just becomes a pointless game. We can't help you. All right. I easily would have taken that game with me, Mangoose, and Menace. I would have taken that game and it would have been a learning experience and I've been great to help the person. Have no issues with it. But when the person doesn't reply to the help, then you can't do anything. It literally becomes a 4v5 and there's nothing more you can do. And at that point, it's F1 because we aren't doing anything here. There's no benefit. So if you're new, look at it.
Like if that guy would have been forced to play some AI matches before he came in,
100%.
At least would have known how to buy items. He would have known 100%. Not to fucking W key into towers.
Yeah.
He would have known a little bit about which lane he should have been going in.
I think it was 16 minutes in and he's still buying health, like multiple health bots.
Pappy was in that game on the opposing team. He was the Sparrow.
Yeah, Pappy was there.
I know because I murdered him twice with my support Richter.
Yep, you did.
I can't, bro. I mean, I get you, but I'll be real with you. Like, let's say in this environment where you only have PvP, right? Whenever I was first learning MOBAs, like I literally would join a Paragon lobby and I immediately, the match hadn't even started, I immediately muted everybody on my team. Just because I had too many bad experiences with somebody flaming and I just didn't want to have it. So it's very possible that that's what y'all ran into.
So then here's my other PSA then. Fine. Don't go into a game and mute everybody. Wait until the one toxic person or the multiple toxic people, mute the toxic people only, right? Other people might not even talk. Like I don't talk much unless I find out that I need to help somebody or that I need like, hey, there's something going on. Hey, can I get help here? Whatever. I'll type occasionally or I'll just use the ping system, right? So you don't need to mute me because I'm not going to be toxic towards you, right? Or other people. Stunt's not going to be toxic towards you. See, so don't mute everybody.
Get you.
Give somebody a chance.
I get you, but I'll be honest. I'm definitely of the one that's like, hey, man, I lost faith in humanity a while ago. I joined a League of Legends chat. My chat's disabled before I even join the match. That's an option in the settings. Just because I'm not dealing with it, quite frankly. It's like, and there's a lot of people that feel that way, you know? And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that, regardless of how good they get at the game, because of the interactions, are like, you know what? I just play AI mode with my friends. I never play PvP. And that's just going to happen. There's going to be people that way, you know?
There's people like that in Paragon. I didn't realize it until I started content creation, but there are people that just played AI. That's all they did in Paragon. I don't get it, but I mean, if that's what floats your boat, go for it.
I enjoyed playing AI in Paragon. I also enjoyed playing PvP. I like doing both. You know, I had groups of friends that just weren't good at the game, but we could sit there and mess around and have a good time in AI. You know, so I mean. I don't know. I guess that's where I was at with that. But I also didn't mind getting my ass smashed to me in Paragon. So I'll do both.
I don't mute them. I just let them talk. Just type away as much as you can. Some of them are amusing too. Some of the stuff they say it's hilarious.
I know I was in the military, so I got pretty thick skin. So I don't mute them either. So I can take whatever you want to say about me. I know I'm ass. I literally tell you I'm in Bedrock Elo. So that doesn't affect me at all. But when there's people out there willing to help and you just instantly mute them no matter what, you don't get that help.
For sure. You're sectioning yourself out for sure.
Did it really benefit you at all to mute everybody? Like because of one toxic person or maybe they were potentially going to be toxic. I mean, I don't know. I get the mute function when somebody is being straight toxic and you don't want to deal with it. You mute them. There you go. That's what it's for. It's you don't just so you guys know, you don't lose the mute function after the beginning of the game. You can mute in the middle. It doesn't have to be right in the beginning. You can mute in the middle when things actually start getting hairy and like I don't want to deal with this. But you lose that fact, the ability to learn from somebody who's actually willing to try to teach you.
Yeah, and you don't give us the answer like, yeah, but you don't give us the answer. I'm a League of Legends player. Okay, yeah, I understand. You understand mobile, okay, but when we're saying don't buy that card, get something else, and you're level 1, I'm a League of Legends player. I played Paragon and I was Diamond. Good for you. Congratulations. You know what, Stunt?
I would have rather had that Sevarog tell me that he was a League of Legends player. He literally said nothing, and there was nothing like it was like a W key. At the very beginning, literally W keyed almost to the tower, then went to their red buff, and then died inside their red buff. Very beginning of the game. I'm like, what happened? You know, and it was, but we're trying to talk to him. You know, hey, get items, do this, no replies. Tell me you played League of Legends because then I can use League of Legends as an example. Hey, this is different. This is same. This is equal. Whatever. Like I could use that. Give me something I can use. I got nothing.
And at the end of the game, they put GG's.
Yo, so let me ask y'all.
You know where to type. You do know where to type.
I can't, bro. So let me ask y'all. I'm gonna put on screen a teaser that they posted as well. Now I do understand also on the screen you guys are gonna see some of the comments that I have been posted on Twitter. I want to hear your thoughts on both, quite frankly.
That's Crunch's boxing glove, right?
No, that's Revenant. Yeah. That's Revenant's.
That's Crunch's boxing glove.
That's Fig Mel's tater sack.
Tater sack?
he ain't got a ball sack. That boy got a tater sack.
If you kick it, does it turn into tater salad?
It does. And he says, "Oh, no, I mean,
it's Howitzer's backpack."
Yes, we know it's fucking FaZe.
It's definitely FaZe. Definitely FaZe. So you can tell it's FaZe. One, it's a backpack. That's the one thing, right? The second thing, you can also tell that is like the headphone look that her backpack had. It had like headphones on it, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
So, and you can tell that's what those headphones, it looks like maybe like almost like a paw type thing going on there. Yeah, it's definitely FaZe. And since we know it's FaZe, Mangoose, when are you gonna be man up? When are you gonna be team up?
I don't know. When are y'all gonna man up?
Man up? Wow. When are you gonna man up?
He set himself up so decent, bro. Get me in.
I'm not the one rocking little basic bitch missionary skins in the game.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right. Windu, you weren't there for this. All right. So Windu, that Mangoose doesn't have a Richter skin, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, so yeah. All right. So going into one of our matches, I'm like, well, fuck, he's Richter. I'm like, you know what? Mangoose is not. He's gonna. You're
gonna start a GoFundMe for him.
No, I said Mangoose doesn't have a skin for Richter, so I'm gonna use my basic, by no skin for Murdock. I get into game. Didn't pick a skin, and then I look over, and there's Mangoose as Richter with the fucking bronze skin. I'm like, you motherfucker!
I can't,
you son of a bitch.
Oh, Sockcap says Mangoose is slumming it in these streets.
Before we get into this is obviously FaZe. It's her backpack. She does a little fucking emote where she shakes its head no, blah blah blah. I fucking hate FaZe. I know a lot of people love FaZe. I hated FaZe, and I really would love to not see her in the game for years.
Well, I'll be real with you. I want to see her, but I want to see the fault version of her. You know what I mean? Like, I want something completely different from original FaZe. Like, yeah, they could keep some similar things, maybe like the link or whatever. But I just want to see the character implemented differently.
Yeah, they can keep some similar things.
When
that wouldn't be completely different.
Well, okay, not completely different. My bad. Because people are gonna. I would prefer completely different, but people are gonna riot. Right, so they need to do slightly different, I suppose.
When you say different, are you saying you don't want to see FaZe as a support and like a mid laner or something? Her plasma being a damage more as you see what I'm saying? Is that
I get you.
Different you're looking for?
I'd be open for it. Like if they decided to just come out of left ballpark and be like, no longer a support, now is a mid laner. You feel me? If they change that shit up. I mean, fuck it. Why not? I don't give a damn. I'm not one of those people that's gonna be like, they changed my FaZe. No, I will never play this game.
Because I
will gladly come to both your houses and punch you both in the face if that happens.
But I was telling Mangoose and Bearded that FaZe, Revenant, Faye, these heroes, I'm very curious to know how Fault is gonna set up their kits with. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They have unique kits. They have special kits, and I'm very curious. And it goes back to what you were saying. I want to see a Fault version of these characters.
Why?
But I mean, why not?
Because
you want Paragon's FaZe?
No, here. Yes, I do. I love FaZe. FaZe was my favorite support to ever play with. The only thing I didn't like, because the only thing I didn't like was trolls. Right? If I'm playing with somebody that I can legit trust as my support, FaZe is please pick FaZe. Right? That's who I want you to be. I want you to be FaZe. But if you're just being
it was too easy to not support.
Throw me into a fight, or you're being asked and pull me out of a fight or pull me away from a kill, then I'm gonna be like, all right, that I want nothing to do not be phased ever again. I want nothing to do.
You just took the words out of my mouth. The first weekend you're gonna get a new player. As soon as you're getting that kill, is gonna pull you out of that fight.
That's just how my games go.
Me, Tom Cruise pulls you right in.
That's just how my games go as faults, anyways. It doesn't matter. So I'm okay with this. That ain't gonna matter if it's phased or not. So, but this is the reason that I don't want them to switch it up, because in the long run, right, they're gonna come out with their own heroes. They have to make their own heroes. They have to make their own kits. They have to make it completely different, something new that we haven't seen, or something, right?
You want them to save some of that originality for those characters. Exactly.
Let's use that on the actual fault characters. We already know what this character could do and what they're like. Let's use it. Now, was it overpowered? Did it not work right? So let's make some tweaks to it. You know, maybe not do so much damage with her ult or something. I don't know. We can balance her. Right? We can make her better in that regard, but leave her kit the same. Don't change it up. Maybe change it a little bit, like Murdock's buckshot's no longer a pushback with fault, right? He now has his pushback as his the other button. What is that, E or whatever? Or his right mouse button is his pushback now, you know? And then, you know, but it still changed his kit up a little bit, but he's still the same Murdock that we know Murdock was. So nothing completely changed. Keep them you can make tweaks to them, but I don't give me something like that. Don't make it. You can't
completely change them, or you're going to piss people right the fuck off, because they're going to be like, they're going to buy fault for FaZe, and then they come in and FaZe doesn't do the shit that she did in Paragon. They're going to be pissed. One change I would make is don't let her pull people that are stunned. Like, that pissed me off so much in Paragon. Like, you'd stun somebody, you would get somebody so low that you'd stun them, and then she just
get pulled to safety.
So that's my problem with FaZe just overall. I'm gonna preach on it a little bit here. So Paragon didn't have heals, right? They just had health regen. Like, Narbash doesn't heal people, he increases their health regen. It was all healing over time. And the reason that was, they didn't like in other MOBAs how you could do so much work to kill somebody, and then a healer could just come along, heal them back to full health, and it feels like all the work you just did was wasted. That was their reasoning why they didn't have just straight up healing in Paragon. Then Steve Superville leaves, and like fucking a month later, you get FaZe, who could do exactly that. You put so much work into killing somebody, and she just pulls them out of the fight, and they're fine. I fucking hated that about FaZe.
Yeah, she definitely was the hardest support to lane against and the easiest support to play, by all means, because you could safely from a distance slow and stun, simultaneously give health regen to your carry, your ultimate turned them into Super Saiyan mode, and then if shit hit the fan, you could pull them away. She literally was the definition of, hey, let's make a broken support. What you got? Hit me with it.
Didn't she also do mana regen too, or no? Or was that wrong with that?
Yeah, her link gave mana regen too.
Yeah, so it's health and mana regen that she got.
The thing with FaZe is, any other support that you were playing against, you could focus the carry, or you could focus the support. When you were playing against FaZe, you had to kill the support before you could kill the carry. And that left you wide open to damage from the carry while you were trying to take down FaZe, and you got blinded because she would fucking squirt that shit out like a squid. As soon as you got on top of her, she would blind you. But
I'm okay with that, though, because it changed the diversity of the game. It literally isn't the same thing. Hey, go carry, go this. It's literally the same rotations ever. Overwatch, you can focus the support in Overwatch. You know, hey, we can't get the tanks, to kill them because they keep on getting healed. Let's get the healers, get the supports out the way. Bam, we can take the tanks down. Like, I'm okay with or you can, you literally just kind of, it depends on how you make that adjustment. You can plan for one and go for the other. It's. I'm okay. It definitely makes a change in the game, and I get how that is affected in everybody's traditional way of playing, but then it just kind of makes it all right. Well, now we got to play this way. It makes a counter pick. Hey, we need to. You can't be a squishier ADC or whatever. You got to pick it. You got to be a tankier ADC, or how you play, or how you build, or whatever, because of that, or something, whatever.
The part that I liked about Faye the most is that she 100% made Sparrow relevant again. because Sparrow not having any, displacement, any mobility or whatever. Yes. She was low key hurting. It was like, yo, bro, I'm gonna be real with you. You're gonna scale hard with Sparrow, but if you pick her, you might be kind of throwing compared to the other ones. But then as soon as they added Phase, that Sparrow Phase combo was nasty, bro. That shit was broken as fuck when it came out. But I'll be real, like here's my thing on Phase. I don't have a problem with her, right? I'm interested to see as to how they implement her, right? My bigger concern, or more like question, is why Phase? I thought they were gonna throw in characters that could fit multiple roles easily, like a Faye. People could support with Faye. They did that all the time. Or she's a mid laner, or Feng Mao, solo jungle, etc. You get what I'm saying? Like multiple roles. Phase is, unless they change her like crazy, she's just a support.
We didn't see the voting, because they did ask 4 months ago, 3 months ago, who would you guys love to see next? Was she the most voted person, voted hero that we wanted? We don't know what how that happened. Nothing came out with the correction for that.
I mean, I think it's a smart move from them. Maybe not gameplay wise, but popularity wise, is to generate people wanting to play patch 0.14, because Phase was popular as fuck. People loved Phase. They loved her aesthetic. They loved her play style.
Yeah, her look was amazing.
Everything about Phase. I'm one of the very few that hated that bitch, but everybody else loved her, and that's fine. If it got people to play support. Nobody played people. It was like I had free reign of any support I wanted to play every game until Phase was released, and then every motherfucker wanted to play Phase because she was easy as shit to play. I mean, once you knew how to counter her, you could counter her. She wasn't like overpowered or anything, I don't think. I mean, I think that's my main problem with her. Is once I finally threw in the towel and said, you know what, fuck it, I'm a support now. Phase comes out and everybody else wanted to play support, and I'm like, fucking hell.
Belix, I do have to ask, is there a way of getting the high def version of this picture, or is there? Because usually
I feel like we could easily ask and get it, right?
Right. That's what Belix is in chat. So I want to know if there's, because usually it's in the patch notes. When they get a picture like this, you kind of put in the patch notes, and then you have a hyperlink you can click, and you get you can pick on whatever res you want. So is that something that we can do? Because I would love to make this my background picture on my PC for sure.
Cool. So actually, let me ask y'all then about one of the other posts that they released, right? And that is finally reaching AAA quality is what they worded it as.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to hear what you guys have to say before I give my 2 cents. Let's start with Stunt. Getting a little quiet back there.
I mean, I love it. That AAA quality. I mean, this is a good look for Twin Blast too. Maybe if he runs out of bullets, he can poke your eyes out or something. I don't know.
Bro, I'll be real with you. It was fun. It was fun, dude. I thought you were joking whenever you were showing me your phone and you were like, look, my Twin Blast looks weird on my screen. Something's wrong with my screen. I was like, no, bro, that's how it looks for everybody. What do you want about?
Yeah, that was actually hilarious. Like, no, that's what it's meant to look like.
Twin Blast Slenderman skin confirmed.
I love the tweet because exactly. I love the tweet because it just shows the playful personality that SMS has and how they want to joke and have fun with the community. But it also shows, it's kind of poking, like AAA quality, like there's games, there's issues like this happen in Warzone. You're playing Call of Duty and you'll have stuff like this. It's like, what's going on right now? Like, oh shit, my game's glitching, whatever. So it happens, right? So it kind of is a little poking fun at them, but yeah, I like that. They want to have fun with the community.
Like trying to remind people like, hey, even AAA companies have issues. I was playing Battlefield and fell through the map. So I get it wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
Mangoose?
That shit's fucking cursed, man. I just came back from taking a piss, and then that's on the screen. Oh, before you die, you see the twin blast. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Not at all.
It kind of reminds me of that picture that you have like somebody's mouth with their mouth wide open and it has their eyes as their mouth is too. Like it just like almost like a kind of reminds me of that.
Like a weird ass filter.
Fucking Cenobite.
Now I'll be real with you. Can we focus a little bit on, even though this is a funny animation, let's focus more on why this animation was being made. You feel me? Like, what? Like, are they coming up with like some sort of trailer? And this was just something funny because they wouldn't just randomly make this animation. Those aren't normal moves for Twin Blast. You feel me?
Does he no longer have the dive roll or whatever he had? Whatever that is.
Never had a dive roll. He just had.
He dives in his ultimate. If you dashed her in his ultimate, he would dive.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
But if you see here, like he dives, stops. It's like he's looking back and saying something at the camera. Is it like them? Like maybe they were working on a trailer with voice lines, and and something went wrong, so they wanted to kind of make fun of it.
It's true because he is doing this, like he's trying to. Like,
yeah,
what?
he's like, "Hey, you're not gonna come with me or something." Like,
yeah, that map doesn't even look like any of the maps we've played. The hallway looks a little different.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. It definitely looks like a very narrow spot to a jungle entrance of the sorts.
Like higher walls and stuff.
No. So
that could easily be the entrance to Dual Lane, though.
It's the entrance to the jungle, red buff, and then turn to the right lane, and then right there's your archway to the right lane in front of Tower 2, in between Tower 1 and Tower 2. That's what it looks like to me. Like literally that you're on that wall,
maybe.
Turn to your right. That's what it looks like to me. I see like because I can see the archway being right there, and that's where that narrowing would be at. That's probably one of your most narrow spots that you have with a flat wall on your left hand side.
I'm excited for the potential that this is actually hinting at more than anything.
Oh, definitely.
Because they're over here, making fun that glitches happen to everybody, right? But at the same time, we see a pretty high quality version of Twin Blast being used in some unique way that's not gameplay. And we saw
cinematic though.
Yeah, but at the same time, we saw shit like that whenever they were adding Decker and Grimm and even Gadget, right? Like cinematics, cool, very dope cinematics. We know they're capable of that. But why use Twin Blast in a cinematic?
Maybe he's about to get pulled by FaZe.
He took the words out of my mouth. Maybe it's a FaZe intro. Yeah, maybe it's a FaZe intro.
Maybe his eyes aren't being pulled.
I can't with him, bro. Get me out.
I just want to say real quick too that like as far as the addition of heroes, I think what they should focus on is what the other games don't have. Like everybody tries to act like this is some kind of fucking Disney movie and there's not competition out there. They're like, oh, well, we'll just develop our game and they'll develop it. No, there's a fucking competition going on. So I think what they should be adding are popular heroes that people like that aren't in the other games. Like,
so they can dip into the exclusivity.
Yes, exactly. Like
clickbait.
Maybe that's why FaZe is being added, because she was so popular as a support.
I know, but she's in Overprime, is what I'm saying.
I mean, that's a good point.
They need Iggy,
yeah, but go play
Crunch.
Overprime.
They need Shinbi. They need something.
So, I think I've always had this opinion, and I literally don't know if this is how it goes or not. But I think some of these heroes are being added because of how the ease or not as hard to implement or not as hard to code.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Revenant, I think Revenant's probably going to be one of the hardest ones to code because of getting that second realm or whatever, the nether realm to be added in there to code it to where you're only going to add you and the other person that you target. Like that's got to be pretty hard to code to have everything else going on around you. You're pretty much having a game inside of a game. Like, that has to be pretty hard happening, because it's not like, hey, we go to the nether realm and nothing else is happening. The other 4 players are doing nothing right now. Like something's happening. You can't see it.
But
so
FaZe is one of them, Bearded. I think FaZe is one of those hard ones to code too.
Why?
To be honest. First, for example, that latching on to another teammate. you know how Richter does pulls? Sometimes you throw that pull and it makes it look like you got the person, but you didn't. And then on top of that, doesn't FaZe have something almost like Revenant? Doesn't she blind you with one of her abilities?
Yeah.
I mean, if they keep it, yeah, she's got a blind.
Your screen goes white. So if,
yeah, but that's one person's screen going away, or whoever. Like, I guess if you get multiple people, I'm saying like you literally got to pull. Like, I don't know. I think you can make it to where, like, because like when I get stunned, right? Not everybody, like, all of a sudden it's not happening to everybody. Like, that's the whole screen going white is the same as you stunning me. Like, I just like, okay, now all of a sudden I've been flashbanging. I don't know what's going on. Like, that's something I think you can do. I don't know. I don't think FaZe could be too hard to do.
Well, I'll give you an example. Metabuff's original lineup included FaZe and Revenant.
Right.
And then a month before their alpha, they were like, we got to, but due to community demand, we're replacing FaZe and Revenant with Sparrow and Decker. It was like bullshit. Right. And then I actually talked to their programmers that were active at that time, and they said, yes, indeed, FaZe and Revenant were far too hard for them to program, so they decided to swap them out with Sparrow and Decker.
It makes sense.
You know what? Then cheers to SMS then. Because if you're able to bring FaZe out halfway through your Paragon characters, that means you're doing something pretty fucking well. Like, if they're that hard to code and you're that hard to bring them in, and you're still doing it halfway through, that's awesome.
I think, sorry guys. I think that's another reason one of the fan favorites, Crunches, is not out yet. That's another reason. Crunches combinations. Having Paragon had 40 different kinds?
I mean, still with 13 and having the ability to Magus talked about last patch or last game last time we played last night. Talk about how smooth it is. You know, you're able to, when that came out. No, talk about how your ability, like you're able to
queue it.
The queue abilities, like how you're able to queue them up. Like, I think that works great with Crunch. Like, all of a sudden now Crunch can be implemented.
You're absolutely right, but the back engine of it, the programming it and stuff, it gives them difficulties. This is why I said FaZe is probably one of them. FaZe is really hard to program. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with their kit.
I thought Richter would be hard to program, but they've already got him in. FaZe can't be that much more difficult than Richter, I wouldn't think.
So you're saying you would think Richter would be hard to pull off?
Oh, you.
I can't with him, bro.
He certainly would, because he's got those metal pants on. It'd be hard to get through them.
He can't help himself. I swear. He actually cannot control himself.
I think he has a hidden book, like, this is the joke.
Where'd that hidden book even?
When Magus makes a comment, this is the joke that follows after. How do I link this with?
He wrote 30 fault jokes. He's been waiting all year to use them properly.
I always have a dirty follow up too, though. So
right, and that's fine. That's what makes us a great team.
It's like we planned it out.
Balix says Crunch is easy. Now, is that Balix trolling us, or is that Balix telling us the truth?
Mom is easy.
So I'll be honest. I can't help but agree with Cyberdrunk in the chat, because Balix just said Crunch is easy, and now Cyberdrunk said, if he's so easy, why isn't he in the game?
Hashtag where's Shimby?
Bro, give up on Shimby.
What the fuck are you talking? I'm never giving up on Shimby. I love Shimby. Fuck you.
Yeah, and just like Bearded loves Wukong.
Shimby's what? No.
Just like Bearded loves Wukong.
No.
Bearded does love Wukong.
Fuck no. I think he's probably that one person I know that ultimately hates him.
Bearded Wukong has a shrine stank all over him.
Fuck that. No, you got Bren, you got Easy Ed, and there was somebody else that was all about Wukong. I can't remember who it was, but anyways, yeah, no, that's not me. Not me at all. No, I mean Shimby's what? But you give Greystone such a hard time. Isn't Shimby the female version of Greystone, pretty much?
What the fuck are you talking about? Shimby,
I mean, she's got her old spinning swords and everything.
No, she's definitely way different, bro. She's definitely way different, and like throwing the wolves, the animation, and like having all those wolves hit you and stacking the ultimate. She's definitely much more complicated.
I think you're confusing Terra with Greystone's female version.
Terra don't have the spinning swords. Although I would rather have Terra than Greystone any day.
Yeah, I love hitting Q and doing jack and then shit. Fucking Terra. Get out of here with your Terra. Get out of here.
I'll take Terra over Shimby any day.
Yeah. Let's fight it out.
I can't, bro.
Shimby versus your Terra.
And I'll just
make it happen.
I'll just bring in Yin.
See, I don't agree. They have a similar ability, right? See,
that's going to be a hard character to program right there.
The right click of Yin.
Yeah, her right click and her ultimate.
Yin.
Because
so now we say this, we don't know if that's going to be how it's going to be. Like they could change it up a little bit to where it's not going to be.
I mean, it's not Yin if you don't have a reflect though.
True.
But like you got to take a projectile coming in and then program it to stop, add Yin's stuff to that projectile and send it back at a trajectory that she picks. That's going to be nuts. That's going to be hard to do. I would think. I don't know.
I know. I would agree. I would agree. That one's going to be a tough one too. Crunch isn't as popular as you think he is, but again, it's not my decision, so I can't answer you.
Yeah, I think that's also a big part. Like, we got to be mindful that at the end of the day, there are still upper ups in the company choosing and deciding. It's like, hey, well, you know what? Based off of community feedback, this is what we're going to work on team. Somebody in the team could be like, well, we could do this one way faster, but if the boss says you're working on fucking phase and you're working on phase, bro, that's what it comes down to, you know?
True.
I would just like to see cult favorites that the other games don't have included in Fault. I think that's their pathway to success for now. But again, it doesn't matter because right now it doesn't matter for any of these games. It's full release is what counts.
Well, yes and no, because again, you're talking about the other games, what they have, right? Let's end this episode right now. Let's go play those other games. Let's go play those. Let's go be Revenant in Overprime.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Why would you play Fault?
But we can't. You literally can't play those games right now.
You're saying because they're not publicly accessible is what he's going for.
Saying.
So, like, why are we pushing to be like, yeah, they're in that game, locked behind a door with fucking 3 locks and no keys. You know, there's nothing happening right now. You can't do anything with them. So I get it. I understand what you're saying. And if those games were active, yeah, I'd be right with you, man. It was like, hey, let's start getting these ones that they don't have. Let's start bringing people over because, oh shit, I haven't played this character in forever. I want to play this character now. I completely agree with you, but right now you don't like that's kind of going back to our conversation we had earlier. Kind of hold your cards to your to your chest, like hold them in, like nothing else. Those games don't. Yeah, they have them, but we can't do anything with them.
Yeah, you make a good point. But I would still say that just the existence of people knowing that those characters are in the other games make them lean towards those other games.
Not unless we do better.
Well, no, Mangus is right. Like right now, there is your Overprime fan base and there's your Pred fan base that really don't care about Fault. And even though we're an active game and we're able to play it, because Overprime has Revenant, they're going to stick with Overprime. But if Fault had Revenant, maybe because they can't play Fault or they can't play Overprime right now, maybe they would come over here and play, and maybe you would sway that player, or players multiple, if you went with that.
Another problem is people will come into Fault and be like, well, I couldn't play Crunch, so that's why I sucked. It's like, nah, it's because your skills don't fucking transfer over and you're looking at your own skills through rose-tinted glasses is why you fucking suck. You need to learn how to play Fault, not Paragon.
I need to get those glasses.
Oh, I've got rose-tinted glasses like a motherfucker. I thought I was the best Fae there was
I know.
in the world. But I'll look back at my old gameplay.
I know I'm ass and I'm still ass. There's nothing I can do about it.
You know what I can't help but think of, though? The fact that regardless, even though that argument is valid of you can't go play Predecessor right now, the sad matter of fact is the majority of people out there don't give a fuck about that argument. They're going to be like, no, this game's the one for me because they have my character. And that's all they care about. They don't give a fuck if they're not going to play for another year and a half or 2 years. They don't give a fuck. They will literally sit there and white knight and go die hard because that game has their character.
I did
nothing else.
I did a poll a long time ago asking people, do you care more about Paragon, the game, or do you just want to play your heroes again? I was fucking extremely surprised by how many people said that they just want to play their heroes again. They don't really care how. They just want their favorite hero back in some capacity.
Right. Yep. No, 100%. And that's what we said last week about, using the Paragon. Like people, this isn't Paragon. No, use that because that's what people are coming here. They want to play their character. They don't care what capacity it is. They want to be their character. So bring that, use that small pond until we're able to, go find a bigger pond and with bigger fish. The Balik says that on the luxury to develop the servers, the servers turned off. Everything changes when you hit that go live button. And I can understand that. It makes 100% chance, 100% sense.
I feel like that's that's the hesitation that a lot of these companies have.
I would say
the fact to go live, because there is no going back really once you go open up the floodgates, right?
I would say in response to that, Balix, stop crying and give me my Shimby, man.
Damn, bro.
Right.
Yo, okay, let me ask you guys real quick. So we all know consoles is a big subject, right? Paul can't even post anything without somebody saying, when's it coming to console, right?
Yeah, so it's not even just Fall. It literally is every one of these.
Yeah,
I
everyone
follow
everywhere.
all of them on social, and literally you post it. It's like the first comment. Who was it? I had somebody came up to me, dude. He's like, I thank you so much for saying that because I said that on one of our Let's Be Honest squid that we talked about, and somebody came to me, dude. Thank you so much for saying that. He's like, because that's literally what I deal with every time, and it's true. Like you literally go find a go live post or not go live post. Sorry, you find a post of social media. Hey, this is a console when? Console, literally the first thing you see, console when? I'm like, dude, come on,
Well, so I mean, you gotta be mindful. It's gonna happen.
No,
right?
100%. I don't have to be mindful. I do know that you're right, but then they also have to be mindful that they said, hey, we're working on console. We'll let you know when console's happening. They said that already. You saying console when is going to do nothing.
But you got to be mindful also. Listen, motherfucker. So you got to remember, we are in a day and age where we have projects that just hint at the word console just to gain popularity, just to get people on their side. We have projects that are posting, we're going to be cross-platform on full release, but they never tell people what those platforms are. We got people making videos out there that are like, oh, look, we're working on our console right now. And it's like, motherfucker, I see you playing on a controller. That doesn't show me shit. Like, you can play on a controller on Steam and it's wired. So, and actually somebody brought up a good point about that video that we're mentioning. They were like, well, if it were really on console, why is it wired? Why aren't they just playing it wirelessly? I mean, even wirelessly you could, do on a PC. So I don't care about that.
But you have to plug the controller into the dev kit. You can't play the dev kit wirelessly.
Okay, so that's a great fucking answer, bro. Go watch Mangoose's video for sure. But like, you gotta remember, too many of these companies are trying to draw that console crowd. Even if their game won't be on console for another 3 years, they mention the word console to get those people on their side. When Fall, I'll be honest, I'll give them 1,000,000% credit. They haven't been using that crutch. They're steering away from that. They're like, hey, we're not going to mention console until we're ready to do console. And I applaud them for it.
They mentioned forever ago that they got the acceptance by PlayStation to submit. right? So
they joined the bandwagon party at that point. Yeah.
But that was forever ago. They said that, and then ever since then, they've been quiet because there's nothing else more that they can do at this point. Literally nothing else we can do. All we can do is get a game. Once we get it polished and great on PC, we can then work on console. Like, that is their goal. That's what they're doing. And they've said that. They've been honest with all the way at the beginning. I just don't understand. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
I was telling Bearded last night that I came up with a word for that sort of activity. It's called a meta bluff. Because they're the ones that fucking pioneered that shit by putting that in.
They started the fire for sure.
On their proof of concept video, got all the PlayStation players super fucking hyped for Core when all they had was an end users agreement that I could get to with my lawn mowing business.
As long as you got an LLC, right?
LLC.
Man,
speaking of that, I need my lawn mowed. When can you get up here?
I hope that's a euphemism. If that's a euphemism, I'll be
bro.
there tomorrow.
Hey man, keep your personal business in the DMs, okay?
I call
Porque no las dos
on the lawn, whatever.
Bro, I can't. Whatever. I'm like, I'll be real. I really want Fall to almost address that subject a little bit more, because it has gotten to the point where they're borderline ignoring it. If you go through their Twitter, their Instagram, console comments all get ignored, and then from there other comments get answered, right? I think it's okay to have an answer even if it's not the answer that people want. You get me?
But why give them one if you're not even working on it yet?
Yep, ignore them. I don't care. Like, guess what? No matter what, you ignore them. You don't say anything to them. When you come out in console and you're the first one out on console, guess what game they're going to be playing? Yep, exactly. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I see what you mean.
If you're not smart enough to see that they said, "Hey, we're working on it. There's nothing we can do from here," and you're not smart enough to understand that, and you keep on asking every post, console when, that's on you. That's not me. You're gonna play when I come to console.
There's a lot of ignorance around the subject in its 100%. Own. And there is. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that. Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was such a large part of the player base, and they're just constantly like, when, which isn't it the fact that as soon as Strange Matter goes to full release, then they're going to start looking towards console? Haven't they said that in the past? Like, they're not even focusing on that.
Really?
Their priority is full release.
I was hoping that they would release on console with full release. That's what I was hoping for.
I mean, that'd be awesome.
That's what I'm hoping for. I don't know if that's what they said or not.
I think them being on the Epic Games Store on full release is more likely. You get me? And I think it would be easier for them to test cross-platform throughout 2 platforms on PC, because you still have to, Steam servers, Epic server, something there has to be merged, right? So I think that would be an easier way for them to test all that, and then adding PlayStation, Xbox, whatever the hell they decide to do, would be the cherry on top. I don't know if that's the way they're going to do it, though. But that's how I see it.
The question, too, is if it is PlayStation or Xbox, do you do old gen or new gen? Or both? Hopefully you can do both.
New gen. If you, and in my opinion, I don't know if anybody in the chat can help us out. If you go to the old gen PlayStation ports, you might ruin the game. The new gen, like PlayStation 5, Xbox, is pretty much a custom built computer for $500. You know what I mean? Some people who don't want to custom build their PCs and stuff like that, I think it'll hold up. If you go to old PlayStation ports, PS4 and stuff, I think you're going to have an issue.
I mean, I see both sides, because I have buddies that don't even have a PS5 yet, that they're still trying on a daily to get it, and they're struggling. But at the same time, I see some of these games that are made for PS5 having one, and the amount of fidelity that they could throw in there, the amount of quality, details, and shit compared to what they were able to on PS4, or when you take those two and put them side by side, it really is mind blowing. I mean, I'm not like there's an option for both of those. There's an option for both of those.
Good.
Sony won't. I mean, I see the message in chat. Sony won't let you.
Stopped. I thought you were done.
No, Sony won't let you get the dev kit for the PS4 anymore. But the dev kit that they got was for the PS4, if I'm not mistaken, because that was before the PS5 even came out. You get me?
Yes. But if going from what Bailix is saying, it sounds like that, like just because they have an obsolete dev kit, like that dev kit's going to do nothing now. Like you.
Well, no, he just mentioned out there, like the only way to have that dev kit if it was something that you already had and is already in development.
Never mind. All right, now that was there after my thought because of him. All right. So let me, because I was away for a second. So I'm paraphrasing, but I remember a comment back when announcements were being made and like let's talk like patch 5 or something like that, right? So
okay, way back,
yeah, way back when. It was, the way I understood it and I read it was their goal is to get a polished PC game out, right? Mm-hmm. So like come out full release PC, we got this running the way it's supposed to be, and then they're gonna work on console release. That's the way I understood that. What they, and now obviously that was patch 5, we'll say, because I don't know when that was. It was a while ago. And so things could have changed since then, right? They might be trying to do what Mangoose wanted to do, possibly. But from my understanding, as of right now, because nothing has been said, their goal is to give us a full release PC game, make sure it's running the way it's supposed to run, and then we're going to work on console release. That's the way I understand that. Going back to that conversation.
I've also been told by dev buddies that porting a game to like a console variant, for example, is exponentially easier than creating the game from scratch, like they are. You get me?
Right.
Like making sure that everything is done and set and it works right. It's apparently very, very hard. But when it comes to switching it over to console, they my dev buddy made it seem like that was a walk. Like it still takes work by all means, but that was a walk in the park compared to the original process.
Right. And then, so to talk about the new console, old console, how we go from there. I said my question, ¿Por qué no las dos? Like, why not both? You know, like I don't see the reason not to have both, right? And so like I get what everybody's saying, but I what Stunt was saying was the ability that's hard to do or whatever. But like, it's not like Unreal Engine 4 wasn't used on PlayStation 4 and on PlayStation 5.
No,
like,
before you continue, Bearded, I wasn't saying it's hard to do.
No. But
the ports that PlayStation 5 has,
right,
and the ports that PlayStation 4 has. PlayStation 5 is closer to a custom PC. If you cross-platform between PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC gamers, you won't see much of a difference. You know what I mean? But a port with the PS4 versus let's say a custom PC like we have, you'll see a big difference. And this is why that's the only thing. I'm not saying it's harder or easier.
Gotcha.
I mean,
no. So then, so that's what you're saying. All right, I understand what you're saying now. Sorry, I heard you as I was walking back, so I wasn't really understanding it. So, if that's the case, then I still port them to both, because the fact that if you port to both, or we create for both, then you're just creating a larger pond to fish from, right? Because not like what Windu said, he's got friends that don't even have a PS5 and they're trying to get a PS5, so it's not easy to get, right? But
let me just add a little cherry on top that was corrected in the chat by Bailix. So he did mention that as of July 5th of this year, all PS4 games must also run on the PS5 and tested on that. They can't only be PS4.
And that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine. So that's still, you still get the ability to, throw that wider net. You're literally throwing a fish net. You're trying to catch it. Like, you're not trying to skip. Hey, Xbox 360, I want nothing to do with you. Or Xbox X, sorry. 360 is too old. My bad. I'm a PlayStation guy when I don't know what Xbox I'm talking about. But throw that out there. Try to get everybody. Let's get them all. Hell, if we can, let's get the Switch in this too. I don't care. Let's bring them all in.
I see somebody in the chat. KX is saying in the chat here that console players joining the community is not going to be a good thing because console players' experience is on average significantly lower for MOBAs is what he's kind of getting to there. And I'll be real with you. I still think it's going to be good for the game because here's what I got to say, and no offense to anybody that is going to, you're going to take offense to this regardless. But if you're in there with the shit console players playing every single day, it's not because of the game. It's more than likely because of an equally matched skill of the sorts. You get me? Yes, in the beginning, there's going to be a lot of people that within similar MMRs, it's going to be rough, but more players help establish that ELO bracket. They're needed to establish proper ELO. Right. You get me? Yeah, so if you have a whole bunch of people that are just not good at the game playing, over time, they'll get lower ELO. And if you are the better skilled person, over time, you will get better ELO as well. But you need that influx of players in order to average it out. And I think that for any of these companies, it's smart to aim to target the console demographic because, yes, it is an easier influx of players that are looking for something new. It is much harder to steal players from the existing, League of Legends or Dota. You get what I'm saying? So it's almost borderline necessary if they want to have a leg up in the game nowadays.
And then keep in mind, there's another interesting thing when it comes to these new consoles too. You can literally put a keyboard and mouse to a PlayStation and use it. You know what I mean? You know how some people will make it.
PlayStation, though.
Yeah, that's
PS4. PS4. I mean,
yeah, but it doesn't work great.
It doesn't work great. So when people and usually, I'm sure you guys have heard this between PC players and console players when they say when you play like a first-person shooter and stuff, the mouse is easier. You can literally install it on the PS5 and it works great. Like I said, just like a PC. So I like the idea. I understand where KX is coming from and what he means. But you'll get the same experience if you have players who actually want to do good and come out to and try the hardest. You know what I mean? I hope it makes sense, but
yeah, it does. And
it's not only a controller. It's not only a controller.
It's like Noob is saying, if you're bad, then you're just bad. It doesn't matter if it's PC or console. And Otto mentioned, as a former console player, it wasn't that bad. The low-level PC players are just as bad as the low-level console players. Your peripherals do not necessarily make you that much of a worse player. It can make a difference for the top 1%, by all means. Maybe you can't get as high as you want to because you're on a controller. That accuracy or arguments could be made all day.
Right. No, and I was going to say that's when it comes to the game overall, Fault can make this happen easily, right? For casual games. Now, by casting this wide net, now they got some things they got to do with their ranked matchmaking, right? You got to figure this out, right? Are we going to do ranked matchmaking with consoles only? Are you going to have it set up to where you can just turn, hey, if I'm playing console, I don't want to play against any PC players because of the fact that that's just going to be insane to deal with and I don't want to deal with that. Or if I'm playing PC, I don't want to deal with any console players, right? I want to play with somebody playing mouse and keyboard. Like, you have that ability to turn that off, then that's something you could look into and adding into the game. But casting this net will give us a bigger player base to actually be able to get those data points to figure out what we need to do.
That kind of brings up another topic too, though, because Sony doesn't like to play nice as far as cross-platform goes.
It's true.
So, but
everything is cross-platform nowadays, though, because of that whole Fortnite fight that we had forever.
Yeah. It's true.
So, I mean, thanks. The one thing I am thankful for Fortnite and that big old fight and whatever is going on is the fact that everything is cross-platform. Because I say that, like, I play the PC now, guys, but I was always a console player, right? I the whole WASD thing, I always hated it. You know, this is my strong hand. That's what I felt like the whole time. Like, I want nothing to do with it. And, so I was always a console player. I enjoyed a controller, but I had a bunch of friends that played PC, but I couldn't play with them. You know, until I played Paragon. That's another reason I played Paragon, because the fact that I can play this with my friends, like, let's go.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that, the hell out of that. And then the other these games, like, now that the cross platform is becoming a thing, I get my brother, who's still a console player. Now he's got a PC, but it's like outdated. He'll play console all day. I can play games with him. You know, those games that aren't cross platform nowadays, I don't know how they're not. They're losing so much from a player base.
I mean, it's definitely the smarter thing. It's definitely the smarter thing to do, but what Mango said is totally true, though. Sony does not like cross-platform.
Tricky Dicky with a beard? That's not true.
No. That's funny. But nah, bruh. Like, Sony doesn't like to play nice with other consoles. Like, they'll accept cross-platform if it's just too good to pass up, sort of scenario. You know what I mean? Or, hey, throw us a shit ton of money and we'll allow you to do it. Like, it's, from what I've heard, they usually are opposed to doing anything, for example, with Xbox. They're more open to having cross-platform with PC, from what I've heard in the past.
Right, Paragon they had that cross-platform with Paragon being PC, right? And it is Xbox, because that is a direct competitor to that. PC is not really a direct competitor, so it is that, and it's understandable because. All right, so people give Sony such a hard time for this situation, right? We're kind of going off on a tangent here as a fault partner panel, but real quick, I'll jump in my soapbox and I'll jump off real quick. But Xbox started this thing actually in the beginning. They had their their only games that they would have or whatever. Xbox did the same thing a while ago with the original Xbox. Right, there was something going on, and then Sony. There's a fight back. If I asked my brother, he was here. He's the one that's really been following the gamer side of it, and it was a thing back then. And then now Sony's doing it. Everybody looks at Sony like, "Oh my gosh, Sony, you're such an asshole." But it's like Xbox, you literally did the same thing, 3 years ago with your old system. But now that we're doing it, we're the assholes. But it's because if you look at it, who was that at that time? Who led in the exclusives, right? Xbox led in the exclusives. Xbox was leading in the console race, right? And then at this time, PlayStation's leading in the exclusives, leading in the console race. And so because they're ahead and they're able to make that decision, like, no, we're fucking winning this race. Why would we want to submit to that? Like, no, we're not doing that. And because of that, they get a darker light, exposed on them, and it is what it is. They both of them do it, so they're it just sucks. Like, hey, do it for the consumers. Right? It literally, all you're going to do is expose yourself to the Xbox, consumers, and then maybe they even come over and start playing PlayStation more often or whatever. Like, that's
so. Let me ask you guys to kind of relate that rant that you just had with Fault. If we know it takes time and money to do cross-platform, right?
Right.
If Fault had the opportunity to include Xbox as well, but it's going to be double the cost, double the time, should they do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I just said it. Cast that net, dude. Let's make this net as wide as possible. We said it last episode. We want to find a bigger pond. That's what we're doing with the casting this net. We're trying to get this bigger pond. We're trying to get as many fish as we can.
Wouldn't it be smarter to test the concept first? Like, throw it on one console. If it succeeds, then consider the option.
But that's what we're not. I mean, not on one console. You don't have to do it. It doesn't have to test in the what do you mean concept? I guess. What do you mean
like, let's say, for example, like, there's a lot of hype, a lot of, within the Paragon community, a lot of want to come to console, right? What if they go to console and the numbers aren't what they expected? What if they go to PlayStation and PC ends up taking off and PlayStation player base is actually smaller? You get me? Can you justify expanding to Xbox as well if PC is your bigger player base at that point.
So
you know what I'm saying?
I think right now what you're doing is you're playing devil's advocate with the conversation that started this. You know, the whole conversation started was the tweets that every comment you see on one of those tweets is console when. Like, we have so many people asking console when that I don't even see your argument even being realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's there. Like we already know we have a huge player base waiting in console. We just need to get there.
I mean, I don't even care if it goes to Nintendo Switch also.
Wait, say that again?
I wouldn't even mind if it goes to Nintendo Switch as Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch if they're able to.
Like Balix was saying, like, console was the saving grace for Smite. Smite was going under.
Yep.
Smite was not going to survive, and then they went to console. Console players don't know MOBAs, and when they get a hold of a MOBA, it's fucking a whole new world for them, and they love it.
Yeah, the crack of the mobile life, for damn sure. Look at all of us here. I'm pretty sure all of us started on a console.
Right? Stranger, what's going on, buddy?
Not this guy. The last console I owned was a fucking PS1.
Stranger said 70% of all Paragon players work on console. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're missing. Now, they're part of that 70%. I'm one of that part of that 70%.
Yeah, same.
Converted to PC, you know, just so I could play this game. You know, and Predecessor and possibly Overprime if it ever does come to Steam. I don't know. We'll see if that ever happens. But, you know, like, that's I built a PC for this reason, to play this game, because I was that console player, right? I didn't want to be that console player that was on the Twitter, hey, console when. I wanted to be, hey, I'm playing this game, I'm enjoying this game. So I converted. Now, not all 70% did that, but if we did it enough, if we enjoyed the game enough to convert to PC, those ones that are waiting, they're gonna jump on it as soon as it gets there. And there's gonna be the same people like me who knew nothing of a MOBA and just found it in the PlayStation Store. We're gonna find even new players too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what brought Paragon its popularity, was being free in the PlayStation Store.
Bro, that was if Fault shows up free on the PlayStation Store, you have no idea how many thirsty people like me literally are like, fuck, bro, I either can't or don't want to spend $60 for a new game. Let's see what the fuck is new in the free section, bro.
I mean, even now,
let's see what's going on.
The Paragon graphics were happy, cutting edge during that day. But like, even now, there's like Fault's graphics are pretty fucking good. So if you put that for free in the PlayStation Store or the Xbox, whatever the fuck it's called, or the Switch, what's it? Then yeah, it's going to be fucking popular.
Right.
Switch thing? I have no idea.
No, hold on. Worth mentioning. There are some amazing games being produced out there that you look at their quality and it's like, holy shit, this is a great game. But there are a shit ton of lesser quality games that don't look as good as Fault being released on the daily and are successful. It's 100% worth remembering. Like, I don't think Fault has to be the top 1% of quality to succeed.
No, it doesn't. So, like, it doesn't need to. Like, it literally is. It's just the fact that one is free to play. Like, yeah. No. Would I be wrong if I said Paragon sold me because of how well it looked? No, I would be wrong if I said that, right? Yes, I would be. Like, I knew nothing about MOBA. I bought a PlayStation 4. I had an Uncharted 4, and I didn't play Uncharted 3, so I couldn't play Uncharted 4 because that's how I am. I gotta play my games in order, right? So I'm like, well, what do? I literally have a PlayStation 4. It's not just gonna be a paperweight. I want to be able to play it. So I went and looked at PlayStation Store, and I found this full game. I went there looking for a fucking demo I was going to play, because I remember my first PlayStation, when you bought a PlayStation, it came with a demo disc and you could play a bunch of different demos, right? And I played Metal Gear Solid demo. You walk up to a wall, you knock on the wall, you get the guy to come out, you kill a guy, right? Yeah, loved it. I played the shit out of that fucking demo. But So I was like, well, I'm looking for a demo I can just mess around with. And I found a full game. I'm like, a full game? I looked at it and I watched that. And I looked at it like, this game looks beautiful. Let me download it. Started playing it. And here I am. I'm stuck. I literally been here ever since. Like,
because the bang for buck that you were getting because it was free.
Exactly. It was free and the beautiful graphics. Like, and I'm like, all right, is Fault on par with Epic right now? No. But are they close? Yes. Like, yes, they're there. Like,
I'll be real with you, Brian. I would actually venture to say that they kind of are. Because Paragon,
point even more.
Paragon Early Access was a little jank sometimes.
That was early access, though. That wasn't.
Yeah, that wasn't.
They're not on par with late Paragon.
Whoa, no. But again, Paragon Early Access compared to Fault Early Access is what I'm comparing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you feel me? Paragon Early Access, we still had an Orb Prime that was a big pink minion shooting people. You get me?
But hear me out. I'm comparing it to what I saw Paragon, right? When I came in and Paragon was free to play on PlayStation, and their little intro video, everybody colliding in the middle, and how beautiful it looked. That's not the same Paragon that you're referring to.
No, like as far as Monolith or anything, like what people are used to. They still have strides to get to that level.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's what they're being compared to.
But even then, we're not too far off from that, in my opinion. And for us to, if we literally went live on PlayStation right now, free to play, people watch our little highlight video that Fault makes, people are going to drop it and they're going to literally download right now. It's going to happen. It's going to blow up.
Interesting.
People underestimate how many console gamers are out there. It's nuts. Oh, yeah, there's so many console players out there. So many. I mean, I think even Call of Duty Warzone, you have the ability to allow cross-platform or not, like going. You could literally just play with just your platform, and you could turn it on or off. So I think that's something that's potential. I think that's something that Fault. I think they should.
Yeah, they could look into it. Yeah.
When they have a big enough player base, yeah.
Oh no, yes. No, that's exactly what I mean. Right now, but I think
this is also under the assumption that console is going to give them that player base and more.
Right.
I think exactly. It will.
It definitely will, and that's
especially
my point.
If it's free, people are just going to fucking try it just to try it.
Yep. 100%.
Dude, I'll be real. If it's free, even on Steam, that shit's going to change a ton. Like, you know how many games all of us have played, even if we didn't like it. We played it because it was free with our buddies. Next thing you know, it's like, I guess I got 400 hours in this bitch. I didn't even like the game, but we're still playing it every day. Like, you get me? Like, I really think that full release for them is going to be huge even before they go console, right? Going to console, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't like that they're like, I don't want to say relying. But it feels that way. Like, it feels like everybody's like, yo, when they get to console, it's going to be huge. That's going to make or break them, Like, do you guys think that going to console means that much?
I think it does.
Yes.
In terms of the race, I think that's the winning race. I don't think the race to full release is the winning race. I think the race to full release gives you a good edge. Gives you, let's look at it this way. Let's use the analogy of the show Amazing Race, right? If you ever watch that reality show Amazing Race, you have a bunch of people, usually couples or whatever, a team of two, and they're racing to get across the world, right? And once you got to certain checkpoints, if you finish the checkpoint in a certain amount of time, you got a boost, right? Like, here you go. Now you get to be there. You get to start 5 minutes earlier or whatever. Like, you get across, the whole point is to get from one point to the next point in the fastest amount of time. Right. And I think the first of these pair of zombies to go full release is going to get a huge boost, but I don't think that's the end all be all. Right.
Yeah, people are still going to have their favorites.
Right. I think the end all be all is going to be the console release. That console release is going to get that sold and like bam, like this, that you almost get to, it's almost like a knockout punch. Like it's either going to knock you, like there's going to be those select few that are going to still be waiting for their other ones to come out there. But this is going to be the one, whoever gets console first is going to be the one that's like, it's almost going to be too hard to come back from if you don't get their console before the other team.
I agree. I 100% agree. Also, Stunt, shut the fuck up, man. Like, you keep talking over and over and over again.
Homie's just staring at a screen.
Hearing so much from you. Just shut the fuck up, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I talk too much, guys.
Stunt, what do you got to say about all this?
Yeah. Give us your take, bro.
Let's hear what you got to say.
And don't you just fucking say you agree.
This whole time. I agree with Windu. Thank you, Windu.
I can't, bro. Get me out.
Look, we've been saying this from the beginning. Full release is important, I understand, but that finish line, that console, that whole thing is gonna make or break it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, patch 14 comes out and there's a new overhaul on the graphics. Now you have better graphics. You have like a 4K view. Again, we might be asking for too much, but the fact that 14 is being mentioned so much, and the fact that they want to open, remember Windu, you were reading about it, that they want to open up doors to new players. That can pretty much mean anything. That can mean new players who are possibly phase players who might come back and play. It could mean new players who are looking for maps, or it could mean players who chase graphics more than gameplay. So again, it's very interesting how what they have up their sleeve for 14.
So we've been using the analogy of fishing, right? So ever since last episode, right? And Mangoose, I think you'll appreciate this. You get to that pond, right? That we're talking about. We keep referencing this pond of that we're fishing from, right? That pond is going to have great fishing holes, right? A spot that you want to go and cast, right? You're going to have spots that are like you're not going to be able to fish from, right? The faster we get to that pond and we're able to find those fishing holes and be able to pull in the fish that we want to pull in is going to be better, because we're going to get there. Yeah, the team that gets it the fastest is going to be able to get there and be able to like, hey, nope, that's a dry spot. We want nothing to do with that. Let's move over here. Oh, this is a good spot. All right, that's a good spot. Find all those good spots. So then the second team or the third team that shows up, now they have to go through all of that again and find those good fishing holes. It's not just going to be an instant, like, hey, instant success. You literally got to start casting those nets and figure out where everything's at. You already have a leg up on the team to be able to find out those little honey holes.
I think a lot of it also has to do with when they bankai that fucking game. Like, if they're the first ones to full release and have that shit out there, then people are going to start playing that first. After that, they're going to compare every other game to that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Be the original comparison.
Yeah, because these console players now, like the console players will be tapping into. Yeah, there's gonna be the ones that stayed console, didn't switch over, and they're gonna go. They're the Paragon people, but there's gonna be people we get that haven't even played Paragon. So whatever game comes out first, that's gonna be their original mindset, and that's what this is, the original, guys. And then so when the next one comes out, oh, this is just a copycat.
I'll be real, man. Back to the original thing. I just want patch 14. Like we can go in circle for days, right? I want patch 14. Like it having more sooner would be nice, right? Wishful thinking. I am just honestly surprised that we're basically halfway through October. And I thought we were going to have it by like the end of September or like mid-September or something. You get me?
Yeah. I know. I agree. I thought so too. Stranger says Fault always does heroes in twos though. So who's next? My question for you, Stranger, is who was in two with Gadget? Who was in two with Grutch? with Grux. Who was in 2 with Grutch? I was thinking of a Crutch. Who was in 2 with the Morgash? Who was in 2 with
That's a good
Kalari?
point. They don't necessarily do 2 always.
No, they don't.
I think they'll do 2 for 14 though.
You think so? You think they're actually going to throw a character with 14?
I think that's the whole tease with Phase. I believe so. Yeah,
100% think they do. They will. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't look at that and I think that, bro. Like, we've been teased about a character and then not seeing shit for 8 months.
That's
like
true.
I don't like just because I see a picture, I'm not like, oh yeah, that's next patch. Yeah, I can tell.
The
like,
problem is though, this tease of this character has already been teased again forever ago, around the same time that 14 got teased. So this whole thing has been kind of going with each other. So it just kind of, I think it's going to happen with each other.
I mean, that's like saying Kalari got teased on early access. And next patch, it must be it, and it wasn't.
She was part of the season 0.
Eventually. Go ahead.
I'm gonna correct you, but Playfault website does show the hero releases in 2. In August, there was Decker and Grimm. October, it shows Kalari and Grux. December, it shows Gadget, Mori, and Richter.
They released. All right, they weren't released together though.
Like, no, not together. But that's I guess point. That's what they're saying in 2s. Maybe like they're advertising or they're phase.
That was their. It happened within their that month or whatever together, but it wasn't together. Like literally, that's why like. Decker and Grimm were the only 2 that had their announcement video together. Mm-hmm. Everybody else had their own individual announcement video. You know, Richter. Oh my gosh.
Richter had the whole Christmas thing going for him.
Yeah. Richter Morgash, Morgash was like hinted in the video, and then that Morgash, and then it continued, the Morgash video continued from the end of Richter video. But I mean, that doesn't, I don't know, it wasn't in 2s, I guess maybe if you want to say that, then fine. I guess
I think
we'll get Phase in the beginning, and then later on we're gonna get another hero possibly.
Yeah, I think that's what he was asking. If they're teasing Phase, how come we haven't gotten haven't seen any other teaser aside from Phase? Yeah, but
you know what? KX actually brought up an interesting point, and I don't think this has been mentioned in any of the notes, update blogs, or whatever, but has there been any talk about an anti-cheat?
Because we haven't talked about.
Yeah, because right now the anti-cheat is a couple of devs. I 100% agree with that statement. Maybe it's for the fact that we haven't really had too big of an issue. Like, I know we've seen cheaters. Like, I saw like, what was it? It was the first week of early access. There was already somebody with like a speed glitch, and they got banned immediately, right? But that's an important conversation to have if you're going to open up the floodgates to everybody. I think that's worth addressing.
Like right now, like, why the fuck would you have an anti-cheat when there's 200 people? But when you get an influx of people, you're going to need it. It's a tricky situation though, because anti-cheat is often associated with spyware, so they need to be really picky and really selective about what anti-cheat they use and how it runs. Yeah,
wouldn't that be the smarter thing? Go with like a trusted anti-cheat or like a well-known anti-cheat.
Is there a trusted anti-cheat?
I mean, okay, fair enough. But like, you get me, like at least an anti-cheat that when people see it load up right before the game, they're like, oh, I recognize that name. You know what I mean?
How much would that cost them though?
How much work would that entail? Would they have to change their coding, their networking or whatever because of that? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I have no idea about anti-cheat. That's a topic that I need to look into because I'm clueless.
True.
I don't know anything of you.
Yeah, if there's anybody out there that knows about anti-cheat or cybersecurity or whatever, hit us up. We'd love to have a chat with you. Just throwing that shit out. KX says, how easy is it to cheat in Fault and is actually crazy? Not just speed hacks, but literally ESP takes an hour to code with half a brain since there's nothing to stop you. Yeah, I mean, I could see people abusing it if they had the talent. And if the game does become more popular, we all know that cheater websites start blooming as soon as a game becomes popular, as soon as there's a demand for it, so to speak.
Right.
That's a very important question. Like, they really gotta, maybe they already have like stuff in the works.
Plan in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. I would assume that they do, you know, but who knows? What if they're pulling an Apex Legends Forge reveal where FaZe gets replaced by another hero? I mean, we've seen other games do it. I hope not. You imagine they tease FaZe, release a different hero instead? I could see it, quite frankly.
Yeah,
we hope not.
Shimby picks up the backpack and puts it on her.
I mean, FaZe and Shimby go together.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine if all of this is literally just like a Grux Mara skin? Like imagine it's just like, oh, that backpack is literally just like, I don't know, Grux has that backpack at the end of one of his hooks now just because of a fucking skin.
If I see,
and if it's not the character,
FaZe skin, that'd be scary.
Single white female.
Well, I was.
You don't remember that movie?
No,
I was thinking more like Silence of the Lambs. You know, it puts the lotion on, but I mean, I guess.
That's
oh, you were thinking much scarier, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre bullshit.
I know you guys are youngins, but
I don't know.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What? I mean, I guess yes, he does put a skin on, but like literally, like, have you seen?
That's what the Grux pelt skin is. Well, I fucking killed Grux and I'm wearing him. Nobody realizes how creepy that shit is.
Do you not know what Silence of the Lambs is? Like
the cannibal thing? Yes.
Right. No, yeah, but not just cannibal. It literally is the other guy that's driving. I can't remember his name right now. What is his?
Buffalo Bob?
Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill. That's
Bill.
what it is. Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill was literally skinning people alive and wearing their skin, like not just a face. Leatherface was wearing their face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo Bill was wearing their skin.
I mean, this definitely took a weird turn, but Cyber says, "Shit, I'll fucking take Zinx," and I hate Zinx at this point.
He just doesn't like Shinby.
Right.
Cyber Drunk and I used to be friends. And then I brought up,
and then Shinby got in the way.
And Shinby got in between us. I should, man.
Man, all right. So let's do this.
You want a map? You want a map in the next update? Stranger asks, "What do you all want in the next update?" All right, and Stunt says map.
Yeah, if you have the AI and stuff, I want a new map. What's wrong with that?
But the next update's coming with AI and mastery. I don't think.
I don't know. I don't know if he's. Yeah, but I don't know if he meant the update after that. If he's talking about 14, I mean, yeah, we're asking too much. But if you're looking for another update, I want a new map.
I read it next update. This update that we're getting next. 14 would be the next update.
I could see a brand new map coming with a full release.
Yes,
maybe
maps coming
15 or 1 at that point it would be, right? I guess.
He
I think at that point
14. He wanted to 14 is what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, the AI, all that is.
That is a good question. What is considered too much? I mean, that's a rough one because we know they're an indie company, right? But at the same time, is it too much to ask for a revamped map or a new map at the same time? Considering
a revamp map or a new map?
I mean, either. Considering the last time we saw a visual change to the map that was drastic was a Christmas skin almost a year ago.
A new map, I think, is too much to ask for because then you're going to have so many of those areas that are just going to be, whatever you want to call it, it's just like you kind of like fall into the map or whatever. Certain areas you're just going to have issues with. But a revamp of the map, I think that's possible.
I think the map is okay. We need new heroes. We need something.
I agree with that too.
This shit up.
You're down here now. I agree with that as well.
I'm not down there.
Oh, you are.
My
You
friend.
are. Yeah.
So
Go back and watch the VOD. You look exactly where you're at. Let me see if I can post this just right.
I can't with you, bro. No, I don't know. I just y'all are too much, bro. All right, so let's just do this. That is a cue that y'all have been on the fucking call for way too damn long. So as we're gonna exit here, Mangoose, grab a second. Stop laughing your ass off.
Go to Sun first.
Okay, Son, what do you got to say to the community before we wrap up, bro?
What do I have to say to the community?
Yes.
Thanks for sticking around, guys. I know all of you have your opinions. I know all of you want a certain thing, but thank you for sticking around. It's always good seeing you guys out in the game and playing, and whether I'm getting my ass kicked by you guys or not, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, if I'm not mistaken, Balix earlier stated that if there's an average of like 2 to 3 newer players on matches now, and that's not even with 14 in there, not even without full release
marketing,
actually, free to play and whatnot. So there's been a like player base is still small, granted, but there's been almost like a change of players. I don't think a lot of people realize that even though the player base is very similar, a lot of those people that are in there now are newer. So shout out to the new people that are sitting there, actually learning the game and such. All right, Mangoose.
No matter which, Paragon Resurrection project you kind of glom onto, just remember that it's all about supporting your project, not putting the other projects down. I've seen that a lot lately. Just like keep it chill. You're not going to gain anything by putting the other projects down. If you support your project, then highlight the positives and not the negatives. And I also want to just say that Bearded has been eating a lot of pineapple lately. Bearded, what do you got?
What the fuck? Okay.
Hey, well, thank you for recognizing. But so no,
somebody will get that. Continue.
Hey, Fault is working on their next phase. Stay tuned. It's going to happen. And I can't wait to see you all there. It's going to be a blast.
And I'll be real, my 2 cents before we leave. I like the teasers that Strange Matter has been putting out, so shout out. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, in case y'all missed it, there were personal situations that arose that led to some of the posts not coming up in time. But hopefully everything has gone well. Stuff is getting back to order and such. So I look forward to what Strange Matter is gonna give us as far as content, information, news, etc. Because I think the closer that they get to full release, the more eyes are gonna be looking onto them, and the more it's gonna be about how they react as a company when shit hits the fan, how they react as a company leading up to big events, etc. They're gonna be scrutinized like crazy. So
right,
I can't wait. Strange Matter is literally getting up to bat. I hope they knock that shit out of the park. Legit. All right, homies. So we're going to end it here since we've been at it for a while already. Much love. Thank you, everybody, for joining. If you guys are watching this live, we appreciate you. Everybody that's been engaging. We are doing this on Bearded's channel. What direction is he? That way. We are doing this on Bearded's channel live every single week, but it will be posted up on the YouTube. And if you made it to YouTube this far, we appreciate you. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much.
100%.
And as always, guys, peace.
Peace.